Hello and welcome to this Power BI tutorial with me, James from Matador Software, and I'm looking at ways to improve sort of our visualization within Power BI. I have a sample report here. I've been over this before, but what we're going to specifically look at today is adding heat maps within tooltips. Now, heat maps are something that's used across data visualization, Power BI, Tableau, whatever that may be, Python, but they can be quite problematic if we decide to just display this across our main dashboard. So by providing a bit of layering, we can open up things like interactivity for end users, get that heat map, be able to draw quick insights, and then we can also provide text and a call to action. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the first thing is we need to set up a custom tooltip page. But like you can see here, we're not going to choose a type of tooltip in the canvas settings. We're going to choose a custom page. It gives us more variety with sizing, and that means we can modify it when we actually go to use that tooltip and activate it within the tooltips. In this case, for the card we're using, where we have the products sold as our main overview, and we're going to look at the order density. So we can go back to the custom heat map tooltip page and begin to configure this further. Now, to start off this native heat map, we're going to want to use a matrix visual. There are custom visuals that we can use, but sometimes it's good just to use the standard functionality. So there's a few fields I'm going to want. My rows, I'm going to want my month name, so that's just in short version in my date table. My columns are going to be my days of the week, and my values are going to be the products sold, which is just a sum of our orders. We can go ahead and get rid of column and row subtotals, and that will give us the starting point where we have a matrix grid that shows numeric values, integers, for the amount of orders placed by a day within a month, and they're just summed up. So you can see where we have blank values and numbers, but this isn't necessarily very beneficial to just view and get quick insights from when it's in purely just a numeric fashion. So we can actually go into the cell elements, we can turn on background color, and I'm not going to use the DAX here where we could specify field value. I have a previous video on this. I will include a card so that you can potentially watch that. And we're just going to use the standard tooltip. We'll add a middle color just to get a bit more of variety there. And you can see we're just going to sort of have a diverging blue color scheme. Now, we still have annotations, or that font there that displays the integers. So again, we can actually just provide the exact same color scheme, and we can tell by the density of the color where we potentially have much orders placed by the density. And this can help us look at correlations. So we could mix this with, the source system, other visualizations, knowledge that people may have, to quickly get some insight on how we can improve orders and capitalize on really hot spots that we currently have. Now, this is great for providing layers and interactivity in our dashboard. So I'm just going to provide a shape here to give it a bit more depth, make it a bit more appealing when people actually hover over our card and go ahead and look at our tooltip. Next up, I'm just going to add a text box with a title. And you can already see how this is coming together to make something that would be more beneficial for our real estate than just placing this visual and potentially overwhelming end users if this was in the main dashboard. So we'll just add a title, make it perfectly clear for people with a nice text annotation what they're actually looking at, and we'll add some more supporting text and a button. So we'll go ahead and do that next. So I will add another text box, and here I'm essentially just going to give people instruction as to what they're looking at in the heat map, and give them an option, maybe a call to action as to where they can go and find more in-depth information. Typically in the end-to-end data process, that would be in some form of proprietary or source app, and then we'll just format everything really. Add a button. Can be tricky in a tooltip because people may not have the time to click on that button, and they may not require that, but it's just to show you some ideas as to how you can allocate space and depth in our data visualizations. I will just format everything as sort of a dark grey. I find that less jarring than using black font sometimes. It's a bit more friendly on the eyes for some people. We'll make that bold. We'll make the font size larger for the instruction, I guess, as to what we're looking at in the heat map. That's quite important. And the secondary information in the instruction as to where to view more order figures, I'll just give that italics so that we can sort of differentiate between the information. Again, make things easier for our report consumers or end users, you might say. Again, I'm going to add an information button. We don't need to have a tooltip here. We've already specified what that may be for in that supporting text, which is fine, and we've made good use of this tooltip. Got a lot of good things in without overwhelming people. And I can format the line color, and again we could add an action if we wanted, potentially to a URL or whatever that may be, or a destination. So now when we move over to the overview page, we should be able to see this nicely formatted tooltip, much more effective than a standard tooltip, and it also gives us depth without overwhelming end users, lets them feel that there's more interactivity and a bit more like a web app feel to this dashboard here. As usual, if you like this content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe and share. Thank you.